Hello, I'm Olly and this is CriminOlly, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today I'm delighted to announce Horror Mayhem 2025. So Horror Mayhem, if you don't know, is an annual reading event that focuses on horror and in particular on shorter works of horror. So it's a great way to kind of dip your toes into the genre if it's not one that you're particularly familiar with. It was created by Scott and Becky from the channel The Bookish Brands, and this year we're dedicating the event to the memory of Scott, who very sadly is no longer with us. Scott was a fantastic booktuber, a wonderful host. I remember way back in 2022 when he invited me to be a co-host of Horror Mayhem, how delighted I was. And he was such a gracious guy, such a welcoming presence in the booktube space. He really made me feel part of that event in the first year. And I know there are so many other booktubers who were starting out who Scott did similar things for. He was a really fantastic guy and so well read and read so widely as well. I don't think there was a single genre that Scott didn't enjoy. He really was a fantastic reader as well as a fantastic booktuber. So let me talk to you about this year's event then. So as always, there are a bunch of co-hosts. I will leave links to all of their channels in the description so you can check them out. A wide range of different people taking part, and we'd love for all of you watching to take part as well. As I say, it focuses on shorter works of horror. So short stories and, kind of novels up to 200, 250 pages, that kind of length. So books that you can read relatively quickly. So it's a great way to try different types of horror, to dip your toes, as I say, into the world of horror, try some different things that you wouldn't necessarily try otherwise, and try some of the different horror subgenres. This year there is a theme for the event, and that theme is Decades of Dread. So we're not having themed weeks as we have done in the past. We're just saying to people to try and read from a variety of different decades. So a bit like we did with the March Mystery Madness event this year. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be trying to find a book from every decade over the past century. We'll see how I do. I haven't got a finalised TBR list worked out for it yet. So if you've got some suggestions, do let me have those in the comments for either short story writers or shorter horror novels. But yeah, I want to try and hit all of the decades from the 30s through to the 2020s. There are three great horror short story writers that I really want to read some stuff by this year though, all of whom I've read stuff by before, although one of them I haven't read much of his horror, and they span, well, I guess they're all kind of mid 20th century, I would say. So the first of them is Robert E. Howard, best known as the creator of Conan, but he also wrote a load of horror short stories. I remember as a young guy reading his horror short story Pigeons from Hell, which sounds like not a very scary title, but I remember it being absolutely fantastic. So I got, not long after I started being on BookTube, I think, this wonderful Del Rey, is it Del Rey? Yeah, Del Rey edition of his horror short stories. So I'm going to dip into this. I'm certainly not going to read the whole thing because it's nearly 500 pages and they're quite big pages as well. But I'm going to definitely try and read at least some of the stories from here. Another great horror writer, one of the great horror writers, to be honest with you, whose short stories I've always really enjoyed, and I'm not sure if I've read all of her short stories or not, but I'm going to read some more anyway from this lovely Library of America edition that is Shirley Jackson. So I think in some ways I prefer Shirley Jackson's short stories to her longer form stuff. I think she just did the short story so well, and it's a difficult thing to master, the short story. There's a real talent to making something that feels complete but isn't that many pages, and I think Shirley Jackson did it brilliantly. So I'm really looking forward to reading some of her stuff and revisiting I'm sure some of her great stories as well. And then the other writer is one who is best known for writing a different style of book, and that is Roald Dahl. So Roald Dahl, obviously best known as a children's author, but wrote fantastic horror short stories as well. I have a bunch of his collections digitally, and I'm going to be dipping into those too. Again, like Jackson, I think I probably read most of his horror short fiction, so I think I'll definitely be doing some rereads, but really, really looking forward to reading his stuff again. Like Jackson, he just mastered the art of the short story, and in particular, you know, very well known for having like twist endings at the end of his short stories that work fantastically well, that kind of flip things on their head, and just leave you with a chill running down your spine. So yeah, really looking forward to reading some more Roald Dahl as well. So that is my announcement video for Horror Mayhem. Hopefully you'll be taking part. Do let me know in the comments. Let me know if you are going to be taking part, what you're going to be reading. I will return towards the end of April and give you my my full TBR or pile of possibilities for Horror Mayhem. So as I say, if you've got some suggestions for me, do let me know what you think I should be reading. But remember, it needs to be either short stories or novels below 200, 250 pages. Or novellas, of course. Anyway, I will leave it there and say, as always, thanks very much for watching. Hope you're safe and well out there. Hope you're reading good stuff. And I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.